going live. I love this stock live countdown because we didn't prepare the normal one. So enjoy these smooth jams, not by Under the Rug. Hey. I'll cover for you, Brendan. Hey, everybody. I'm covering for Brendan because he's trying to get this to go live on. You can't?
It's broken.
Oh, no, it's broken. We can't go live on Instagram. Hello, guys. My name is Cassie. I am your dumpster fire of a singer of Under the Rug. This is an extremely technologically pissed off drummer, Brendan McQueenie, and a relatively happy-go-lucky guitarist right now, Sean Campbell. I am happy to announce that today is the day when our pre-orders for the new record, I'm looking out through these eyes, but I'm in here alone, go live to the public. Plenty of people in the comments saying hello, hi Jill. Folks who are in our Discord hangout the other day where we talked about our recent obsession with the word glizzy, as in hot dog, making glizzy references already. We are happy to be here and happy to be entering the next phase of Under the Rug as a band. There are plenty of updates we will be giving you tonight, as well as some new songs, some new merchandise options for you to have and hold and wear. Unfortunately, before the stream went live, all of the hand-painted paintings and original handwritten lyrics sold out to the patrons of our band, which is both lovely and sad for the folks who are just coming on now. But don't worry, we prepared some serialized and signed prints of those original handwritten lyrics that you guys can access and purchase for yourselves to frame at home to celebrate the launch of this new record. Hi, Keith. Hi, Meepus. Hi, Bianca. Hi, Joy. Hi, everybody.
But yeah, next time, we do a launch, make sure to get in the hideout.
Make sure to get in there.
Those things go to those people first.
First dibs, yep.
We're celebrating tonight. We're celebrating in both alcoholic and non-alcoholic ways. And yeah, so
What is that, Sean?
Some John Wayne Yerba Mate.
Hey, the mint one, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, it works too.
So I don't know. We kind of soft launched this pre-order in the form of hanging out with our Discord patrons the other day. I was a bit somber about the record. I think we all might have cried talking about the damn thing. So I'm going to try my best to keep some semblance of composure for this public-facing version. But you never know with this crew if we can keep ourselves together. And isn't that the beauty of our sad, sappy art?
I totally didn't cry.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no. When I said we, it was the royal we. It was just me.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually didn't cry.
Yeah, no, neither of them. Girls can cry. Boys can't. I don't know if you guys know this, but boys.
Oh, that's true. I've heard
boys
that.
Can't cry.
So. I read that somewhere.
Crying is encouraged and celebrated.
Yes.
Unless you're a boy, in which case you're not allowed to.
Only anger is the only emotion you can show.
Envy is just, you have to just be just even keeled. There's no
emotion.
Right in the middle of or neither emotion.
Zero emotion. Yeah.
Okay, so before I get myself in trouble, I'm going to move us along to talking a little bit about this record. Are you guys, Sean and Brennan, have you thought any new things since we did that live stream? Or how are you feeling about the record now that it's finally
2 days later since we talked?
2 days later,
escaping our claws?
Yeah, I mean, I might say something that's a little similar, but I think, after talking about it more and then listening to some of those songs again, I'm like realizing that there's a lot of depth to this album. There's a lot of like emotional like richness or something in the music and in like the lyrics and like what it's trying to say. And maybe I like approaching it again from a distance, saw more of that last time we listened to it. And I think that even talking about like the history behind Maybe Later and stuff, like recontextualize it again for me, like in a way that was like
That's true
really
for me too.
powerful again. And
The context makes sense to me again.
yeah, like it's like reaffirms my past feelings about this album. And I think it's still, even though it's a little bit old for like kind of who we are now, it still holds up. Like it still feels like it's relevant in a lot of ways.
It's weird to think that it is music, some of it's over 2 years old.
Yeah,
or older. Like some of the songs are written like almost 4 years ago.
I think I really don't like it when heavy-handed bio writers use the word raw, but this album is so close to raw emotion. Like it, even we were talking about it in the Discord, but playing the tunes in the studio was, I'm sure it was for y'all. You talked about it too, but it was very emotional. Yeah. Like we really felt those tunes.
You felt it, but you didn't cry.
Oh, no.
No crying.
Mm-mm. I was angry.
I don't cry.
Pissed.
Yeah, I was pissed.
Stoic or pissed. It's one of the two. Those are the only options you're allotted in the box that you've been forced into.
You can, and I think you can cry as a man on like 3 days, like when your daughter gets married and
dog dies.
Dog dies.
If
it's a hound, if it's a little dog, fuck them, throw them off the balcony.
All right.
You could have a like if lab or larger, and you're allowed some crying. So,
I want to address this comment. I'm leaning in. This one here. We will be giving you the link in just a minute. So, yeah, it's not open yet to the public, but we will open it on this live stream.
Yeah, basically, okay, so just for a little context there, tomorrow morning we're going live with the pre-order for the general public. But if you're on this live stream and you feel like listening to us yap and yammer, I'm sorry, the alliteration was too good. It was right there. Then we will be giving it to you shortly, and you guys can get in there before the relatively sizable email list gets at it, which a lot of the things will be gone once that happens. Okay, so
how do you feel about this album since Tuesday?
It's still hard for me to like look at and listen to. So, these recordings are 2 years old. So the person that I was very different than the person I am now. And it's funny, like when we were recording this record, a lot of you might have come on board. If you're here, the odds are you're not, you've sort of weathered my personal life changes and things and stuck around. But when a lot of these songs were being written and they were, videos on YouTube and Instagram and things. We had just had the Lonesome and Mad moment. And a lot of my fears about what could possibly happen as I continued to barrel forward into some later life choices, a lot of those things did happen. And the state of our little world hasn't gotten, I think it's become even more tense than it was. And, I think listening back to that version of myself that was like really afraid to move forward into the next steps of living was like, it's rough. And my voice is very different. And the way what I'm singing about is mostly like a lot of insecurity and fear. And I think it makes for a really good record. I think it makes like a really beautiful and honest record. But I also feel like it's hard to like go back there and like be that person in my mind when I'm listening, because I was really struggling. I like want to go back and be like, look, it's going to be okay, and it isn't, and you're going to do it anyway. So, I do maybe want to just like mention that the tone of this release is a little bit more somber than ones we've done in the past, and this album is a lot more somber than some of the ones we've done in the past. I mean, at the sort of like behest of our council, we decided to put a lot of the more like pop forward and like jauntier tunes on the first half of the body of work that we recorded back when this record was recorded, which is also when we recorded Happiness is Easy. It was all one session with the lovely Dave Peters, who is going to be joining us to talk a little bit about the production behind this record shortly. But I think, we put a lot of the stuff that maybe could have caught and become popular on that first half, and the second half is like very sad and raw and risky and maybe a little bit too vulnerable for a normal listener. And so we're going to be playing a little bit of it for you tonight. Some of the stuff that I think I was most worried about, we played it for the Discord, and I think it went relatively well. So I'll see if you guys have similar dispositions or not, but we're going to play the ending of the record for you, which is basically me falling apart in studio into an RCA 44 and like cry singing into the microphone, which, if you don't like it, you don't like it. And if you do, then you love it.
I think one way you described it really well was like this album release feels like a sunset or something. It's like kind of the end of an era, but it's still beautiful, and it's kind of like you can look on it and just like be reflective, and like I don't know, it feels good to release it. It just feels like it's also kind of an ending or something too. So.
It's funny having been in studio recording other music and writing other music like 2 or 3 times since then, and how different the writing is now. It definitely feels like a different era of bandhood, and not like in a bad way, like all is lost, but in like a beautiful closing of a chapter or something.
Yeah, I don't like endings though, and they're hard. I think the ending of that chapter was tough. It was tough to say goodbye in that way already, and it's kind of weird looking back and being like, okay, that's the last time that I'm going to be singing in that voice on recording, and this is the that person that I was is kind of somebody that I'm in the process of saying goodbye to now, as so much has changed. That said, I also think that sort of by relaxing some of the limitations on myself that I was keeping on myself for so long, there's some new stuff that's become very exciting. And I think I've, we can talk about it. We just did another record at Dave's. When we bring them on, we'll talk about it. But we're even working on a sort of third record right now that we started up in Ruidoso, New Mexico at our manager's house. And I sent a track to Dave with some kind of new Cassie vocals and arrangement ideas, and I was worried he was going to be like, this is shit. And he gave me Dave, he's in the queue here, so I can see his little video camera, so I'm curious to see what his face does.
He's crying.
He's just bawling. No, but I oh my god, Billy. Hi.
Hey.
Sorry, I always expect a kind of like, great, keep working on it. But Dave gave me like the rare Dave. He was like, I forget what he said. It was like, excellent work or something. I was like, holy shit.
Whoa,
you came downstairs and you were like, Dave said something weird.
Dave gave us a compliment.
Dave gave us a real compliment. He really likes it. So I'm excited for you guys to hear the next record too. It's very different and very cool. Anyway, enough harping on that. I just, keep in mind when we listen to some of these songs together here tonight that there is, the version of myself that was writing those songs was in a very dark place. And so, maybe in some form of, we also talked about this in the Discord, but maybe in some form of like time travel, old old Cassie can come to anyone else who's going through some things, and you guys can hang out and get along through that moment in time. Not to be too heady for you guys, but anyways.
I like it.
So, what do you guys think about talking about the title of the record again and showing the artwork while we talk about the title? Are you guys good with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
It used to be called A Happiness is Easy Part 2. And as nice of a name that was, it's a little long.
Yeah, so we wanted to go shorter. So
we decided to name it I'm Looking Out Through These Eyes, but I'm in Here Alone. Just to make it a little, just cinch it up.
Yeah.
Which
abbreviates to ILOH.
Wait.
T
H.
I'm lost.
Q. I don't know. Is there a Q in there? There's no Q in there, is there? Oh, there it is.
It's ILOTTEBIIHI. A. Yeah. There we go.
Anyways, I'm looking out through these eyes, but I'm in here alone.
It's super simple to remember that way.
Yeah. We'll give you a free CD if you can remember that.
I like to behave.
Why did we name it that, Cassie?
Well, I, in that moment, was in a place that was very dark, and I, in sort of moving forward into the rest of my life, I was just like begging the people around me to sort of like understand where I was coming from. I was trying to like articulate to them what I was going through with the gender stuff, among other things. And I felt like there was just this necessary distance between me and other people who couldn't understand that stuff. And this is really I think the foundation of this record is like a lot of the stuff I was writing about then. It was like for me and about me, and I was playing it with them. And no matter how much I tried to like take it out of my mind and articulate it, these things like you can't possibly know what somebody's going through when it's such a foreign topic and subject. And so I ended up like in some weird inversion of thing, writing a lot about that distance or that feeling that like, hey, the idea that people can get behind or that they might understand is feeling something that other people can't understand. And maybe the content of the thing is unintelligible, but that the form of going through something that people don't understand and whatever the name of it is, that's something that we all know, right? We all go through times where that's the case. And so I just felt so much like I was this little thing on the inside of my body looking out through my eyeballs, but I was like still in there and nothing could reach me and I couldn't reach anybody else. And I felt like I was kind of screaming out into the void and it was impossible, especially, there was so much like weird propaganda and vitriol around like trans people and like all these things at the time. It was like just blooming into the like crazy aggressive and loud moment that it was. Anyway, I very much felt this isolation from even you guys. And it was I think I've like leaned on you guys for so long, like we have such a strong friendship, that to like have this moment where you can't rely on the people that you've always relied on to solve this thing. I mean, it challenged everybody around me, my parents, my friends, my partners, my cousins, my aunts and uncles, dogs. Dogs hated me. They were looking at me and they were like, ugh, trans people. Dogs are the most transphobic of all animals.
Really?
Yeah, it's very true.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
I think that's such a relatable feeling in general to have, and there's so much emotion that goes with it. Not being able to get how you're feeling out of your head and into somebody else's is so lonely and scary and frustrating, and it's and you kind of hear that in the tunes too, like they needed to come out, like that emotion needed to go somewhere. And you put it into the songwriting.
I remember like scrolling around on Instagram looking for artwork, like artists that I thought might match the vibe, and I remember finding Dennis Kulikov's art, who did the artwork, and maybe we can pull it up. And I remember just having this feeling like, that's it. That's how I feel. It feels like this. This is the songs right here. This is it. And reached out to him and said, hey, can you listen to this record and make something just exactly how you make art? Just make it about, what you hear on this record. And he came up with this, which I think is...
I don't think we gave him any revisions. Like, we were just
He nailed it first try. I was like, that's it. That's
Can you take that banner off?
I can't.
No.
I can. There we go.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so trippy.
And Sean didn't even notice there's an eye in the chest
until like 2 days ago.
I was like, Sean, do you like the eye? He's like, what? There's an eye in there? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's something interesting that he's like a tree.
Yeah.
He's like a tree man or something. It's cool.
There's some roots, some growing happening.
Yeah.
There's a very under the rug skull head on top.
But it's also like floating above it, like some dissociation or something. And then the self-inflicted wound.
Yeah.
Just sort of binary sun and moon system, left half, right half happening.
He's like trying to like come out of himself. Like,
while harming himself.
Yeah.
Or herself. I'm just saying that out there. These things, I don't know why we're all...
That's true.
The unmarked category is always a man, isn't it? Yeah, I thought it felt very appropriate. As soon as I got it, I was like, yes, this is so easy. And then I always do the designs for the merch, and this time there was a lot happening for me, and Brendan did it all, and I think he did a really amazing job. So when I post this merch link in a few here, you guys can get in there and check out the designs he made. We'll probably share some of them on here as well, but I think they came out very beautifully.
Thanks.
The vinyl insert is like the kind of thing you read on the floor with your headphones, like kicking your feet. And I think it's perfect. So
thank you. It was fun.
Was it hard?
I'm still working on it today, just still fixing a couple things. But yeah, I mean, I think I was explaining this on the other live, like there's a lot of repeated words on the album. There's like these themes that like repeat, that these little interludes that hint at the ending, and they repeat. So there's like this theme of like repetition that's kind of happening. And so like I wanted to use that in, maybe I'll just show a couple things if that's okay.
Yeah.
Wanted to use that in like the design. So like, this is right over your face.
That's okay. You're talking. I'm not here.
It's so small, which is kind of unfortunate. I can't make it any bigger. But at the top here, at the top there, I'm looking out through these eyes, but I'm in here alone, just repeated. It's behind the eye. That's kind of on the top left. And a lot of the artwork, like in the CD and in the vinyl, just has repeated phrases of I'm looking out through these eyes, but I'm in here alone. And then I think it's kind of a cool Easter egg. I probably shouldn't give it away, but I'm going to. I took that text and then I put a Photoshop effect, so the background of everything is those actual words, but they're like distorted. So you can kind of, if you look close at the insert in the booklet, you can see that text, but like just only a glimpse of a word, or like, it's kind of like you have to like focus on it. So I think it's kind of a cool little like Easter egg to use.
Interesting.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that. Yeah. But the repeating lyrics is kind of cool. It's almost because that that feeling can be a feedback loop sometimes, and
Mhm.
the same thoughts keep happening, and you have to process them in different ways. And it's
it feels like the album was like simmering with like discomfort, or like it's just like a simmering, low hanging.
The tune that we're going to show them is very like that too.
Yeah. Do you guys want to maybe show them the song? And then I'm sure Dave is probably like, bring me on. And so after we play you this song, it's a 2-part song. This is the ending of
Dave
the
is
album.
pretending to go to sleep.
Oh, okay, great.
But yeah, he's sleeping in his chair.
So, what is the story behind this? I'm just gonna take a second and sort of like douse for this. This is the end of the album. So if you want the surprise of the end of the album, truly listening to it from front to back, I suggest that you take your headphones off and you go in the other room and you come back in about 6 minutes or however long it takes to play the intro to this song and the song itself. We'd had a song called In Here Alone, where we were playing this, like, I was playing a cello for the first time relatively badly on an Instagram video. The first half of the song just like wasn't working. But the end of the song was so powerful where it was just repeating. I was just repeating it. I'm looking out through these eyes, but I'm in here alone, over and over again. And the idea was to do sort of like something we hadn't done before, which is like, instead of a dynamic musical build, we were kind of getting a little heady with it. And we were like, what if we build like emotionally? Like every repeated bar, we just try to give it more sauce and gusto and moxie, and just kind of let it out. And anyhow, we ended up making the decision at that point. We're like, why do we need the first half of the song? What if the end of this album is just that phrase repeated over and over again? Which is why the sort of like the repetition and the artwork makes sense. There's lots of sort of depth to like dive into when you get the record. So like definitely get in there and look through the booklet and stuff, because a lot of it's intentional. Right at that time, I had driven down to some like middle of nowhere Austin fire road, and I was having a really bad time. And I had been listening to Bob Dylan did a sort of last thoughts on Woody Guthrie. He was invited to go speak on Woody Guthrie and wrote this sort of like bar napkin poem he unfurled from like a whiskey stained jacket pocket at the microphone, and sort of with no preparation, it sounded like read this sort of spoken word poem, and I'd been listening to it over and over again. And I remembered like just feeling like the form of it was something that resonated with me a lot. And I wrote my own there in the car, like in one kind of fell swoop, and recorded it into a voice memo on my phone, about kind of like remembering being in, we used to have a recording studio in Carson, kind of right next to Wilmington, Compton in LA, in South Central. And I remember going to this like IKEA/mall parking lot and listening to like Raymond Carver audiobook. And I don't know, like I remember sitting there in the parking lot and like thinking about how this world was kind of, it felt like things were getting more trippy and precarious and unkind. And I remember thinking like, I have this secret and I have this version of myself that nobody knows, and I don't know if they ever will or if I'll ever tell anybody. And sitting there actually going through the motions of like trying to reach out and grab the version of myself I always wanted to be. I was thinking back to that moment in Carson where I wondered if it would ever happen. And I wrote this sort of spoken word poem. And so it goes back to back into the end of the record. I'm going to play it for you now. Yeah, I don't know. Listening back to it makes me feel odd because it was such a bad place to be in. And I feel like I've come so far by now. So without botching my explanation any longer, we're going to play this song for you. And you can watch our faces as we listen to this just one more time, and then we'll give you the pre-order link and invite Dave on.
You park in the lot in the faraway corner of the Carson Mall. You slip right between an abandoned car and an RV, someone's home running its engine, leaking a fuel or a fluid and rocking dopely from time to time. You come here to read. You come here to be around no one. When you're around everyone, you're more around no one than when you're around almost no one. A few folks that you know well, who wish you well, asking you questions, asking you favors, asking you with their eyes to see them, acknowledge, understand, teach, help, listen, love. Here you could listen to Raymond Carver go on, or burn a plastic bag, it doesn't much matter. Static on the radio, crank it up louder, don't, no one sees you. Here you can sing your unfinished songs, invent poetries, cry. The dust catching light through the windshield, starting up from the air vent and falling in beautiful patterns, falling in double helixes set ablaze by the Los Angeles sun. The RV dweller gets out and lights a half-smoked cigarette. The mall doors yawn open and a family walks out, a little girl tugging on her father's shirt tail. Here in the dregs and the shadow, the big promise this country once promised, unromantic but honest, with its nearby boarded-up shacks and the shadows of the smokestacks built next to the poor family homes where they came in droves looking for a life, looking for a love, looking for a place to be where their children could grow up till they built the towers, those glorified exhaust pipes huffing out plumes of this and that, clouds of white what have you, condensing into clouds and raining God knows what on that lands on your shoulder like flakes of skin from the scalp of a big bald head. Jeff Bezos' head, maybe, or any other. They're all the same. Folks who see starving and can fix it with the push of a button, but who do no button pushing to speak of. If you had that button at this point, you know you push it. Push it in a heartbeat. Push it without taking a breath first. You've seen enough, you think, to hesitate. The oligarchs and rebranded magistrates walking circles around their leafy yards, their leafy pools, echoing phone calls and reflecting warped images of suits and money, suits and money. Suits and money and watches and other symbols of what isn't important. A mother walks past you stringy and hungry with a single package of discount diapers and her baby cries. Your phone buzzes but you don't look, each buzz a cry and a chorus of 1,000 angry cries, cries for something missing, cries for a kind of love they don't let us have anymore, the kind they tell us we can't afford, sharing time, sharing a word, sharing a story, sharing a meal. You know if you look, you'll want to reach through your phone and share everything you have, but you can't, like the tree in Silverstein's poem. You're a stump. You're a stump right now, and you know that ending, so you're taking advice from the big bald head shedding its skin on the crying baby in your beater car. But you have a secret. You have a person you want to be. You want to leave home and do good. You want to start the process of being who you are. You want others to see they can do the same, that it's never too late, whether it's the way they look or the way they act or what they believe in. It's all part of one big thing, to relearn to love yourself, to love the people around you, to care to act, to care to try, to pull apart and restitch together the system of signs that you've learned to use in a way that works to help, works to bring comfort, works to bring some kind of joy. You know it's crazy, you know it's wild, you know how utterly unhinged it sounds. You see the look on the imagined faces of the folks you'd tell, thinking, what could you do? Who do you think you are? You think of their faces, you feel so alone, alone in your optimism, alone in this idealism they told you was wrong, alone in your inability to give up. But this is what they made of you. This is how you endured. The fighter who gets back up never really loses. When you run out of steam turning your gears, you'll walk through the mall, made lively by angry kids and sad families, but constructed by folks who never come here. The owners of the juice chains and phone stores selling overpriced juice and phones and juice colored by the same phony dyes, sourced from the same factories by the same small hands of the same daughters and sons whose homes, too, are covered in the same bleak dandruff that hems the gutters of the mall you'll stand in. And you'll look through your eyes, through the glass of a store that you'd never noticed being there before. A pet store with hamsters running in their wheels and a bird in a cage by the door. It'll look at you through the cage in the glass, its yellow feathers reflecting in your eye. You'll think of a mine with its raw red ore, carried out and pressed into ingots and delivered in pyramids to a leafy poolside veranda. You'll think of your mother who couldn't be helped, or folks whose tune would change if you started being true, the way your unhappiness is mobilized to build those malls, the voices crying out from your phone, the crying baby, the disheveled mother, and the former tree turned stump. You'll look through the glass and you'll feel it ring out like a bell, and write it into a poem. It says, oh my, the reflection in your eye of a bird cage in the mall. Nothing left as far as reasons to pretend that you don't know what side of the bars you happen to be on.
stuck in a life. How did you get here? And where'd you go wrong? A mother's love and a father's only son and a dead bird on the lawn. You couldn't change the trajectory of things. So then why do you feel like you're looking out through those eyes, but you're in there alone?
You park in the lot.
Looking out through those eyes, but you're in there alone. You're looking out through those eyes, but you're in there alone. You're looking out through those eyes, but you're in there alone. You're in there alone. Well, you're looking out through those eyes, but you're in there alone. You're in there alone. Well, you're looking out through those eyes, but you're in there alone. Yeah. Well, you're looking out through those eyes, but you're in there alone. You're in there alone. Well, you're looking out through those eyes, but you're in there alone. I'm in here alone. Well, I'm looking out through these eyes, but I'm in here alone. I'm in here, I'm in here, I'm in here. I'm
Okay.
So anyway,
Oh God.
That gets really big emotionally and musically at the end.
yeah, if you give it the chance, it like really takes you there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, you guys are so sweet.
I remember being worried that it was going to be too much in studio. It's like, this gets really big, but it feels so correct now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something about like this guitar just happening over and over for like 5 minutes, and then by the time that it you know, you hear like the band come in, it's like really like feels like,
I love how it, like, swallows up the vocals too.
yeah, at the end. Yeah,
I had like written the song and I don't even know if Sean and Brendan knew where I was then. I mean, you tell people where you're at, but I think it's hard to kind of know, like, the desperation or something of where I was, and I didn't want to be weird, and I was in studio and we were at Dave's, and I was still like, trying to figure all this stuff out, and I looked like a boy, and I was like, just working through it. And I remember just like falling apart in that microphone and just like letting it happen and like taking steps back from the microphone and just yelling into the room. And I don't know. I remember, like I remember what it smelled like in the room at that moment when I listened back to it. And I don't know if, I don't know if you can embed like a audio file with a part of your soul or something, but if you can, it's in there. There's a part of me in it. So I don't know. I hope somebody has could feel it with me. So to move on from that, and we'll play you a little bit more music from the record tonight. But for the folks who may have to go, I am going to give you guys the opportunity to get in there and order now. And while you're doing that, hopefully you can still have this tab open and be listening to us, because we're going to talk a little bit about some of the production stuff that happened. I think that song in particular had a lot of cool moments on it from a production standpoint that we want to talk about. And then do stick around, because I think we'll play another couple songs, and this record still isn't going to be out for probably another month or so. Anyhow, so only you guys will get to hear some of the other songs on here, and there's some that are just as good as that, if not better. So without further ado, I am going to put in the link to the pre-orders. Please do get in there and get everything that you would like and love and have. And feel free to read my loquacious over-explanation embedded there in doodle format on the page. Thank you, as always, for supporting us. Things are hard financially for everybody right now, you included, so don't feel bad. Don't overextend yourself, but get what you can. Every dollar goes into helping us continue to make the music that we make, so we really appreciate
thank you.
all of your support. Okay, here we go. Here's the link. Spam. You will
Can you throw that in the comments too?
Yes. What I was gonna do.
You'll have to wait one moment for us to type it in so that you can copy and paste it. Don't worry, by the way, after the next songs we play and the talking with Dave about production things, Bono is coming. If you did see our promotional video earlier, he's late. There's some traffic in Portland at the moment. It is kind of 6 or 7 o'clock right now. So he's coming. He's climbing highest mountains to be here. I think he's maybe running through the sea.
Yeah, sure. That's a lyric.
He's touching the hand of the devil.
Only to be with
us. Yeah. He still hasn't found our house, which is what he's looking for.
Because the streets don't really have names.
Right. If the streets have no name, then it's very... And he's got to drive through that Red Hill mining town.
Right.
He's also just got those glasses on, and he actually can't see through them.
They're that, that film that you look at a solar eclipse through that they give you? His constant vision is through that. Pre-orders have been copied and pasted into, I believe, a Facebook comment and a YouTube comment here. So feel free to get into either of those. And I am now going to invite Dave Peters on to talk a little bit about the making of I'm Looking Out Through These Eyes. I'm ILOTTEBIIHA. Welcome, Dave, to the stage. Hey.
Hello.
Look, you're not Bono?
The next best thing.
I'm way cooler with Bono, and you can see my eyes.
That's true.
That's cool. That's true. Wait. Yep. No, I can see him. Mm-hmm. Yep. Dave, we miss you. We were just there like yesterday.
I know. I got our favorite machine back.
Have you opened up the projects again? The tape record?
I listened to the digitized versions just to reacquaint myself.
Are you going to send those to us?
What's the best one now that you re-listened?
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know the names. So what we're talking about?
They're right there on the machine.
For everyone who doesn't know the story, like the record that we're putting out right now was like this giant 30-song bundle of songs that became Happiness, and now this, and it was very high on production and a lot of layers and a lot of work, and then we had this discussion where we didn't really ever want to do that again, and so that we made a record on this little machine back here, which is an old early 80s tape machine with 8 tracks. and that's what we just finished, and that's a subject for another time. But yeah, so we embraced limitations recently, and that's what we're talking about. There's a little left to do on me, and the machine wasn't working, so I just got it working, and now it can continue. And so that's like 3 records from now. We'll be talking with everyone about that one.
We might do that one next if you feel like finishing.
Everybody pressure Dave to
finish the tunes. Everyone, if you could drop a comment in here, tell us, Dave, hurry the fuck up.
Hurry up, Dave.
We're waiting.
Come on, guys, support us. Don't you want that next record faster?
They all love you in the comments.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
See
There's
all those people?
20 or 30 comments saying, Dave. They like you more than us.
I don't know why. I mean, I don't see what they see.
I mean, come on, of course.
Well, he's better than Bono.
Don't hurt yourself. No, hurt yourself, Dave. We're waiting.
Yeah, they're rolling in. They're rolling in. A lot more music now, dude.
The record that we were talking about, the one that we were working on starting last month, was literally, can we write a song and record and arrange a song a day, only using 8 tracks of analog tape and having to be finished with it by the end of the day? Like that's a real challenge. And of course they pulled it off. But the record that we're releasing right now was very different. It's like, how far can we push some of these ideas, and how many songs can we accomplish in the limited amount of time we had?
Yeah.
So, I think what they were saying is that when we started this record, it was kind of all mixed in together with the stuff that's on Happiness is Easy. And so Cassie just kept sending song demos, and then the band was already playing some of the new songs. We had like this list of 30 songs, and we had about 2 weeks to work. And the challenge was, well, let's pick the songs. But then everyone had different favorites. So in true under the rug fashion, it was very quickly decided, let's just do all of it.
Yeah.
Let's just do all 30 in 2 weeks.
And it came out so good.
I love when we have a plan, like, Dave, we're going to come and do like
4 songs,
12 songs.
3 songs.
Yeah. And then we're in studio and we're like, you know what, Dave? We're going to do 30 songs. And Dave's face every time is like, okay. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. He's good for the first 5 days of it, and then it starts to he starts to get tired, and then he's like over the desk, and he's like, Brendan's like wants to do take like 46 on the drums, and Dave's like, motherfucker.
Yeah, Dave on this last session, Dave and I almost got in a fight one day because
it took a long time.
I was making him punch the drums on the tape machine. He's all, Dave, I gotta hear that. I gotta hear that back. I don't know what I'm doing. Dave's like, God damn it.
I mean, to be fair, you nailed like first take drums on like 80%
everything else, but then I had like a really hard time with that song. Yeah.
Which song was that?
You get spoiled quickly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dave is also a dad to young kids, so I feel like he has that mode where he's like, I gotta stay awake for these kids.
Yeah.
And, like,
You guys aren't that young. You guys aren't that young. You're
Oh,
adults.
Oh, okay, Dave.
Okay,
Thanks, dude.
Okay.
What does that make you then, Dave?
What are you, Methuselah? Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry.
Everybody say hi to Ancient Dave.
Ancient Dave here.
You know, for a rock band, you're actually pretty old.
You're pretty old.
So anyway, yeah.
So what do we remember about making this record?
I remember that In Here Alone moment where we plugged in the arch top into a split signal into the Fender amp, and we got this like brothers, like Chase Bliss Brothers, like super fuzzy tone blend. That was pretty cool. I guess this is like, that's just for me.
And
I
then
just
it
thought
was
that was really cool.
yeah.
What was the other one? Just a DI?
Yeah, people who don't live in a
Maybe blend
studio,
it.
they're like, I don't know what you mean.
I don't know what
That's
you're
true.
saying.
No, but yeah, there's something about that guitar tone at the end. It's like glassy, and it's like it has some grit to it. It's really pretty. It's a really nice sound for In Here Alone.
Here's what people like. Timpani. We got timpani. We rented timpani, church bells, and a vibraphone. And we had to pull up in a U-Haul truck into Dave's driveway.
God, I wish we had a photo of that.
It wasn't. It was our van. We loaded
all
that
into the
stuff
tour because we toured right after.
Yeah, we took out a row of seats from our touring van and shoved timpani and vibraphone and church bells in there.
Which, if you don't know, are like the largest instruments.
What's that?
I was just going to say, those are like the largest instruments on the planet.
We were like, no, it'll fit. And then, Sean, you pulled up, right? And you were like, oh, God.
Dude, it was crazy. The guy looked at the van at the rental place, and he was like, you're not getting that in there. I was like, well, we're going to try. We did, though. We made it happen.
There was a moment I remember walking in the house, and there was van seats out in front of my house in the driveway, and timpanis, and there's like 7 people in the house.
Oh my God!
And I was like, "Oh, okay, I agreed to all this."
Yeah, that's good to us.
This is my life. Yes, this is my.
There was a lot of people there that session. I don't have any pictures of it.
And then last session was just the 3 of us, and in a Honda Fit. And Bentley pared down.
That is true.
The opposite session.
The new record we're working on was a reaction to the record we're talking about.
Yes. No, that's true. I think you like do that as an artist. Sometimes you like swing so far in one direction, then you're like, we gotta dial it back. You know, like we went so hard at like making a huge record with so many songs on it. The production was so like lush and big, and then I was just like, okay. We already did that. We've done that. We crossed it off the list. Let's do something like really kind of pared down and focus on the songwriting, you know?
It reminded me of that scene in Walk Hard that's like making fun of pet sounds where like Dewey Cox or whatever goes overboard and he's got like fucking a didgeridoo chorus and like goats in the studio. And it's like everyone, the rest of the band are like,
another mic on those goats.
Like, I don't know. I think we might have, I don't know about this one.
There's definitely one thing with production we've been talking about for a long time, which is that one of the ways people have found the band is through the Instagram videos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And there's an immediacy and a rawness to all of that. And then we get into the studio, and the studio offers these kind of endless options and endless takes, and you can stack endless parts. And when you're a creative person, you have endless ideas. And so it just grows into this giant production monster, right? And but then there's this, but all the magic is still there in those Instagram videos where it's just you 3. Sometimes you had another person on doing something in the background, but generally it's you 3 just kind of presenting the raw song. And there was something that we've always wanted to get from that vibe. And so I remember when we did this record is we were talking about, well, we want some of the vibe from that, but we were still too scared to just commit to things like this crazy little 8-track tape machine, which we just used. And so one of the things I like about the production, if we're just talking about production elements on this record, is that there were always room mics set up. So like when we were listening to that guitar on the In Here Alone, it sounds like it's way back in space because there's no microphone up on the guitar like you would on a normal rock record. The microphones are like in the kitchen on the other side of the house, while the amp is so loud it's like shaking the the walls of the house.
We got so loud.
But that's definitely like a part of this record is there's a lot of space and room, and there's a lot of stuff captured from far away. And
Dave. We made you set up like stations. We're like, we're gonna do this record live. And we made Dave set up these live stations where we were all gonna just play the record live because we had done those Instagram videos.
And we were touring a lot of the songs too.
Yeah, we were already touring the songs. We're like, screw it, let's just. And then he did it. He did all the work, like showed up and he had set up like stations for each of us, like a guitar and vocal station for me and like harmonies and every person accounted for. And it was about, I guess we still did Mary. We did live.
Yeah, the first half of Mary.
I forgot about Mary.
Yeah.
That's on the first record.
We did, I think it was like 2 songs. And then Dave just broke his heart. We're like, okay, we're doing a multi-track 30-song record, Dave. We're doing it like slow style.
I remember the production.
We have 10 days left. That's
exactly.
one instrument at a time.
We just burned 3 days
Yeah.
doing that.
And by the way, we just wrote another song outside on the bus stop.
Yeah, we were across the street on the bench. I got these 2 other tunes.
I remember like we would track the drums, and then I would take the drum files and I would start like editing them while the next song was being worked on. Like there was like this baton pass of like working on the audio so that the next thing could be tracked, and then it was just like never ending. And then getting all the audio back after the session was like getting a bunch of spaghetti. It was like now we have to take all this, like edit everything, make it nice, and then like a bunch of things need to be retracked. Like there's like no vocals basically at all.
There's 500 goat tracks that need to be
all the didgeridoos.
Yeah, the sheer volume was overwhelming. Yeah,
it's just overwhelming. Yeah.
We have a mix. It was like, drive. Wait, is this song 27 or 30 or 3 or? Oh, can we go back to that? Which one? Yeah,
dude, even picking the album order was insane. I remember because
you're like an hour and a half of music,
so much
trying
work.
to piece together what makes sense. Yeah.
And meanwhile, just adding it in there, I was like falling apart.
Yeah.
It was just like the worst time of my life
on
personally.
Tour.
And then we toured for like a month and a half or something.
Yeah, because the session was 50... in between tours.
Yeah, we did like a 50-show tour.
We did like 2 weeks, then we did the session for 2 weeks, and then I think we did like a month and a half tour. So we were gone for like 2.5 months or something straight.
I'm like early trans, like at a venue, and then like after we weren't home for months. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how you came up with the album order? Yes, we can.
I think a lot of just trial and error.
Trial and error. Yeah.
There's also 2 album orders. There's the album order that it is currently, and then there's the album order that it should have been.
I want to dig that up at some point and release it as
I would love to release this as a full 30 song.
Like a director's cut, like 5 years from now or something.
With the ones that didn't make it or something?
Yeah.
There's more than 30 songs.
Yeah, we did like 34 or something.
Yeah, and we cut a couple.
Yeah.
I did I made an album order that I felt like really told the story really well. And I remember sending it to our agent at the time and our manager at the time. And I think, Dave, I sent it to you too. And the reviews were so lukewarm that I lost my mojo.
This is the new album?
Yeah. I was like, oh, this sucks. Okay, we'll redo it. And I think that was the most contention over album order that we've ever had.
You're also like asking a lot of someone
to listen to 30 songs. I mean, I would get bored listening to
30 songs is a lot. It was an hour and 45 minutes.
So every time you wanted to test the order,
you'd have to
listen to 2 hours. You'd have to watch a movie.
You'd have to be I don't know how like directors do that. Like just watch. You must have to watch your own movie like so many times.
Sure. Yeah.
Think about mixing in here alone, right? The one we just listened to. Just imagine having to play that 100 times in a row.
It's 1/4.
It's one song and then 30 of those. Yeah.
You like go to bed and it's just replaying in your head over and over again.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that, Dave, honestly. Like you've probably heard or interacted with these songs, some of these more than we have. Like,
maybe it's just you just kind of zen out and do it. You think about it in technical terms, and there's something I think when you hear a piece of work and you know what it wants to feel like, it's just you're chasing something, and it's never-endingly interesting. I don't really get bored of it.
Yeah, because I guess you're right. Yeah. It's not like passive listening. It's like you're listening with a purpose or something.
And then you make a tweak and it works. It's like the most exciting thing that's ever happened.
Or it ruins it. Or it ruins it. But
always bring the drums up, right?
Yeah. I solved that after the record was mixed. I solved Brendan always all the mix requests were like, "Can you turn the drums up?" And I'm like, "They're up. They're way up. More." And now I have a whole method for getting the drums sounding louder, even even though they're not. But so I saw that after this record was mixed. But you know, it sounds crazy. We're kind of making a joke about how many songs there were, but the truth is, when you're presented with 30 songs and they're all precious to you, and everyone has their favorites, but everyone likes all of them, it's just the art dictates. Like, okay, we have to do all these. There's no. It's not like they always say, you know, you can't be too precious in songwriting, and you have to just pick the good ones, and just because people only have so much time. And but this record, and I think what Cassie was experiencing, and it's just like the whole thing had to be there. Like the whole story needed to be told. And yes, it's divided up now into 2 records, but it's just kind of like this story. And there wasn't really any pieces we wanted to leave out. There wasn't any pieces I wanted to leave out. I know we're kind of joking about that it was overwhelming, but it's like, are we willing to sacrifice this? No. Are we willing to sacrifice this one? No. You know?
Yeah.
So we got to do it, you know?
That's true.
I see Keith's question here, and I'm actually curious. Well, how do you answer that, Dave?
He's asking, how do you make 30 songs sound alike?
I don't know that I think about it in that way. I think that Under the Rug sounds like Under the Rug. The production is done similarly. I shoot for a certain thing when I mix, and then it just kind of happens. You know, the songs were all, I mean, Cassie can speak better to this, but the songs were probably all written in this span of time, and it almost seemed like they were constantly coming out.
Yeah, they happened over like months.
Yeah, and even if they're stylistically, one's going this way, one's going the other, like the band is in a mood at the moment, and certain sounds are always coming. Like everyone's in the mood. Maybe this is a pump organ record, or this is a room mics, you know, putting the mics back in the room kind of record, or it's a this kind of guitar kind of record. Like it just, it's a moment in time. So the songs, regardless of how they're written, I think the moment gets captured, and that moment is cohesive.
Yeah, it's true.
Like we all go
through. No, yeah, I think we all go through phases too. Like we'll all get into like synths or whatever, and then you'll hear so much of that on the record. Or like we'll get into like drum machine, which now is like coming on the records, and definitely in Cassie's voice recently is a new like that's changing, and so that's like has a way different sound. Or I just said just a different sound. But you're right. It's like kind of just like moods that we're going through, and like things that are interesting to us, I think help shape that a little bit.
Yeah, and you'll work on one song that'll inspire another one, and then, you know, they're all mixed at the same time. I mean, even though there were 30 of them, we're jumping around, you know. And then as one kind of the mix matures and becomes something you like, then you're like, well, now this one sounds cooler. We got to go back and revisit this one to bring them in line. And I think there's just these little steps, and eventually it just becomes what it is. Yeah. And it sounds cohesive to me, you know, but I don't think I sit around and saying, how can I make this blue one sound like this red one? Because they don't.
Yeah.
They just kind of evolve. You know?
Yeah. Hey Dave, what's your time like tonight? Are you hanging, or are you 1 foot out the door for any reason? We're just pacing ourselves here. Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
Would you guys be down to maybe listen to another song, show them another song, and then we can talk about, after we listen to it, we can go, okay, well, I remember this.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a specific song in mind?
Well, we did maybe later with the Discord.
I kind of wanted to hear that with Dave.
With Dave involved.
Because of the arrangement, but I'm open to, you know.
Yeah.
Which song?
Maybe later.
It's one of my personal favorites.
That's Dave's favorite.
Okay.
One of Dave's favorite.
Maybe we'll even do
the writing
one
of the
more
song
after.
is just.
So what have they not heard here?
Well, we'll figure that out. So for Discord folks who are here, we're going to listen to Maybe Later again, which we showed you during the Discord hangout. And then for folks, but we'll also do one more song too afterwards, just in case you feel like sticking around. I just also want to mention that, you know, I was thinking this while Dave was talking about the sheer number of songs that we did during this recording, and how like a lot of bands, you know, you have to pick from the songs and sort of kill your babies, so to speak, the ones that aren't going to fit. And I don't think we could have made Happiness Part 1 and this record ILOTTEBIHIHA without having this fan base. I mean, the reason that we can make records like this or take risks with the big spoken word section or experiment with new sounds, or even for me to like, change my identity in front of you all. I don't think it would be possible if we didn't have you guys supporting us. So for the folks who pre-ordered tonight, thank you a lot for supporting us this way. If you're still planning on pre-ordering later, thank you very much for doing that. It makes it possible for us to do things that I think most other bands aren't able to do. And it makes it, I think it brings, it's a part, your being here and involved is a part of the art making process in a way, and allows for us to make certain decisions we couldn't make without you. So you're very much on these records.
And if you're in the hideout, your name is on the record.
Yes.
So
speaking of which, if you feel like joining the secret hideout so that you can get some of the items that are sold out before this live stream, you're welcome to do that as well. We're going to just quickly throw up the hideout join link below in case you feel like going the extra mile and supporting us through a monthly donation.
Also, you get a free month when you pre-order.
Oh shit! Okay.
So yeah, if you are interested and you want to pre-order, and your confirmation email, it just gives you a little link. So
cool. Yeah. A little bit on the song. So I wrote the song and I told Sean and Brendan, I didn't tell Sean and Brendan what it was about. And the song was very much about how I had this thing that I knew I needed to do very badly, and I couldn't muster the bravery to do it, to tell the people around me who I was, so on and so forth. And so I wrote this song and they didn't know what the song was. And so in the video, if you scroll back on our Instagram, you can watch the original video. That was the day that I later drove Sean to an HEB parking lot and confessed to him this big secret that I had. And the sort of like refrain of the song of like, maybe later, like the chorus is you pull your sheets above your head and ostensibly mutter this phrase to yourself or think this phrase, maybe later. That there are things that we know we need to do, and we sometimes struggle to muster the courage to do them. And so when we were in studio, it was a pretty emotional one where like Sean was definitely not crying, recording the guitar part at the end, which is sort of like wily and it's like good sloppy, like you can hear that he's like having an emotional moment while he's playing the guitar at the end. It's like sketchy in a way that like gives it energy. And I don't know, like listen for the tension between the members who like may or may not know from writing to production the pieces of what the song means. And during the production of it, Sean does know and he identifies with part of it and he's emotional. And I'm like in this phase where I'm like just barely have come out to people, and it's a really gnarly fucking song. Anyway. All
right.
Okay.
Don't cry.
Here's maybe later.
Maybe later.
I'm going to send the lyrics if we want to put them in as a comment.
Okay. How are you sending them?
To Sean.
Okay. I'm going to play it. Then we will throw the lyrics into the chat. Here we go.
Yellow spider in a glass, overturned beside the trash. Lonely scrolling on your phone, something stirring in your bones. Something is about to give, but this is simply no way to live. Shadows growing on the lawn, a faint and friendly faraway song. nothing gained but nothing lost. All inaction has a cost. The walls of spikes are closing in. You're no hero, you're not him. And you lay your phone beside your bed, maybe later. And you pull your sheets above your head, maybe later. Maybe later. Then you lay your phone beside your bed, maybe later. Then you pull your sheets above your head, maybe later. Maybe
I love that song.
Yeah.
I love that song a
I
lot.
kept it together this time.
Yeah,
Good job,
we
Sean.
got it all out on the live stream before.
Yeah.
I forgot there was vibraphone in there.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, that instrumental section is so pretty. Like that's one of my proudest moments, I think, on recording and with you guys is like both of your guitars playing together so nicely. There's like bowed bass, vibraphone, the Glock. I don't know, it's just
It's
like
so
such
twinkly.
yeah, it's just a really pretty moment.
Yeah.
And I think that might be one of my favorite moments on the album.
The real production conversation is not happening here. It's actually happening on my phone. One of my engineer friends is listening, and we're like, "Which reverb is that? Which guitar did you use?"
Was that
That's
the
the Guild.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was that the Percassi? No, that was the spring reverb. Oh no, that's the Guild guitar. We're nerding out over here.
Is the Guild on there? I didn't know the Guild was
Cassie
on there.
played the Guild. Yeah,
I remember
It's
that.
such a recording guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. No one likes it, but like it couldn't be beat on this side. Like when you guys come in, it never leaves the shelf. But on that one, it did. Yep.
We were talking about how gear can kind of influence an era of Under the Rug, and it's so true. Like a guitar, even a piece of outboard gear, can totally shape a record. Like this new one, I brought my guitar, and I ended up using it for the first song, and Dave got an old 70s Harmony Rocket delivered.
That right there.
Halfway through the record. And I used...
Can you grab it off the wall?
Yeah.
Can we see it?
Yeah.
But he's not wearing pants, so be careful.
He
That would be so wild.
Fucking butt naked under his shirt.
Oh yeah, sure, I'll grab that. No problem.
So
yeah, this thing.
One guitar or one song on my Telecaster, and Dave got this like 2 days into the session, and I didn't play anything else for the rest of the record. Old Harmony Rocket.
Oh, you got it set up?
The strings. It's in tune now. Yeah.
Wow, that would have been really nice to do before we came, but no big deal.
So the guitars on the new record are just completely out of tune.
Yeah.
So
and this is what maybe later was played on right here.
Hey, there she is.
Guy. Yep.
Huh.
But yeah, gear influencing like songwriting or sound. Like you got an arch top.
Yeah.
Right.
Like what was that, a year ago maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got like a cheap Sears Roebuck catalog arch top, like a press board arch top that sounded like shit in standard, so I tuned it down to C standard. And
it's like the only thing you play now. And it's on almost every song that has been written.
Yeah.
Is this like low tuned arch top acoustic, and it's sick.
It's tight. I love that guitar.
Pickle broke it.
Yeah, my cat broke it, but then I got it fixed. So
Pickle just straight up knocked it over.
Yeah, I mean, what else do you remember, Dave, about that song? Any other memories of production on that one?
I mean, I like it for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is what Brendan said, which I just love the guitar interplay and the instrumentals, and there's a sophistication about it that was, like there's a bunch of different ways to like bring sophistication and class to things, but this was like a new category that was being added by Under the Rug. It was like this very orchestrated, just simple guitar thing I thought was beautiful, and I loved that the song was about something really deeply personal, but it's also one of those songs where you don't have to know what it's about. It's instantly universal. Everyone has, I'll get to that,
Yeah.
big looming thing. I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So I loved that about it, and I don't know. I just remember being really excited to record that one just because I was a fan of the song. I really wanted to hear those guitars doing the things properly. I don't know. I just remember being that was one of the songs that got me excited to start on the record.
Do you remember tracking the drums once with like broomsticks and then retracking them with sticks? Do you remember that part?
Is that this song? That's one of the songs I remembered.
Yeah.
We would do something, and I would work very hard to get it. It's good. And then we'd be done, edited, and Brendan would be like, "I think I want to do that on sticks now." I'm like, "No,
I agree with that.
It's so good. No, this totally changed everything. We only have 27 more songs to go this week."
It was the right choice, I think, though, Dave. Sometimes I make right decisions.
Sometimes.
I'm
going to release, just so everyone knows, for a small fee, I'll release the broomstick version on drums, and everyone can hear how much better it was than the version that's on
it blows up. I like the story. Post-production, Brendan with drums.
Oh, with percussion,
like when there's a shaker that Brendan tracks on something, and then it will be in a mix that Dave gives us, and Brendan goes, "I don't know, Dave, let's cut the shaker." And then the next mix will come, and the shaker will be gone. He's, I think I want the shaker back, Dave.
Okay, well, Dave and I have differing views on percussion.
That's true. Whenever we get a mix back from Dave, if there's percussion, it's like 1,000 decibels. Like there's tambourine, it's the loudest instrument in the mix.
I like percussion.
I thought this was a percussion band. That's what Under the Rug is, right?
It is when you're there.
Textural and like guiding the... Dave just puts it on top.
Trying to give you your own sound, it's shaker up front and then the vocals back here.
I think it's flattering, He loves your percussion, Brendan.
Like, it's funny when a tambourine is that loud or something because, we forget that, like, the sonic space that gets created by the mix is, like, how loud or close the instrument is.
Right.
So there's a tambourine guy. Yeah. And he's, like, right in your face.
And you imagine this guy, he's like, it's like...
the drummer's, like, a football field that way. And tam guy is dancing around with mutton chops.
Really, it's like Will Ferrell with your cowbell.
Okay, I think we should play them one more song.
Yeah.
But the only ones that haven't been heard by anybody really are Caroline and Suddenly I Wake Up.
I like Caroline.
I think you should do Caroline.
Really?
Caroline.
The end of Suddenly I Wake Up is sick, and there's some production stuff to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Okay, sorry, Dave's making a case.
Caroline is the only song ever recorded in the kitchen. We set up Cassie in the kitchen.
No, Skeleton
That's not true. Skeleton Tree.
Did you do Skeleton Tree in the kitchen too?
I did.
We did one guitar.
No, we did like 10 guitars in the kitchen. You kept handing me guitars at that glass kitchen table.
Wait,
I think that's true. Okay, never mind. I lied.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like cuck your story.
I remember you playing. You had My Archtop, I think, and you were playing it in the kitchen, and I just remember listening to it in the kitchen. I'm like, I don't want to change anything from what I'm hearing. Like, you were just sitting at the kitchen table playing this song, and I'm like, perfect. Don't move. We'll bring the mics to you.
That's tight. Good. Okay, we'll do it. Yeah. We'll do it.
Another one too. Where
while you do that, I'm going to find a picture because I have that picture of you sitting there.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, everyone.
It looks good.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it's a nice picture. I'm sure it's great. Dave likes to take like bad early transition photos of me and then share them with the world.
There's some brutal ones of Dave too that we.
That's true.
Yeah,
in fact,
I'll
my
find a
contact picture for Dave.
I'll get a picture of Dave.
Is like this Dr. Steve Brule fucking thing.
For your health.
For your health. While he's fishing for that, and before we move into Carolina, I just want to tell them. I just keep thinking about it. With maybe later, I just remember. I just have to say it. I just have to say it out loud, somewhere very public, where me and Sean playing those guitars together is so important to me. And I remember every time I hear that song, and when we were listening to it again, I remember being in that HEB parking lot, and I remember telling you, like, hey, I'm trans. And I remember you just started fucking bawling, and you gave me like the biggest hug I've ever had in my life. He just grabbed me and he just held me for like so long. He just held me so tight and he wouldn't let me go. And I tried to like uncomfortably like get out of the hug, and he like wouldn't let me out of the hug. And he was like, no. And he was like, I can't believe that you've felt like that for so long without saying anything to anybody, and that must have been so fucked up. And I remember just like it was the most crazy moment. Like I'll never forget that moment. Every time I hear those two guitars together, I think of that moment. So anyways, I don't know if you
it's just not like, yeah, it's when somebody you called it a confession earlier because it's something that you have been holding on for so long, and it gets to a point where you can't anymore. And I think it wasn't, my mind automatically went to years of hiding and suffering quietly. Yeah. And that is such an experience for a lot of people that I don't think should be necessary. And so it's a bummer. And a lot of people, I feel like when someone comes out to them, it's like why didn't I don't care? Why wouldn't you say anything? Because it's terrifying and scary and all encompassing and makes you live your life differently. And and there is an amount of like, thank you for trusting me with this. I
really like that I have the power here in what comments get displayed, because I can do ones that were from a long time ago in an inappropriate moment like this.
I was just scrolling inappropriate. I was just scrolling for that picture, and here's what I found instead.
Oh, finger! Fuck, I found
all of the video takes for the.
Have we put that on YouTube yet?
Yeah, it's somewhere.
Yeah, but it didn't get like premiered. You guys, if you haven't seen the music video for Suddenly I Wake Up with Dave, One Life to Live In. Yeah. God, go on YouTube after this live stream and fucking watch it. It's so worth it.
It's beautiful.
Is it on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. I think it is. Public. Well, it'll be made public by then. I can promise you that.
We released it in another space. I can't remember.
Okay. Let's keep things moving. It's about to be an hour and a half live stream, so we're probably gonna play this song for you guys, and then we'll make one more case for why you should pre-order our record, and then we're gonna let you guys go. But I do really want to say thank you one more time for being here. This next song is called Caroline, and it is, I think, a very beautiful song. And every time I say that, I think of this. It's going to be a very beautiful song. It's a great song. Everybody knows it's
our live stream's just going to go down.
Yeah, 0 watchers. Okay. Let's play this and keep things moving for the folks who get bored with our yammering, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. And last song of the night. So here we go. Muting.
Caroline, sometimes I still see you in the things of mine that I hid when I first met you over time. You'd enjoy them more than I would, no surprise. You were so much like your mother, needles on the lawn. Caroline. Sometimes I still see you in a crowded line. Fingers in your hoodie pockets, power lines. Barking dogs in bars on windows, golden light. Shining on a dirty mattress, oh, and how it shines. Oh God, how it shines. But I love you, Caroline. How did I do? Eyes you withdrew. The glint in your eyes. Oh God, how it
I like that song.
Ooh.
I like that song. You guys didn't know it yet, but I was hiding some very femmy vocals on some of those tracks. So
I can't even do it, but that one run.
So
I want to share
yeah.
this. They were talking about the timpanis and stuff.
Oh,
you go.
yeah.
There's that.
Can I make? Wait, hold on. I'm
The
gonna make you
visual.
bigger. Wait,
Oh,
no.
wrong
Hold
one.
on. I'm gonna do it.
Just take us out for a
Make
second.
me bigger.
Yeah, down here.
Can I do?
Remove.
Yep, that's kind of what the room looked like, right, with the timpanis and stuff. And then there was we talked about the bench being outside. Let's see if I can make it big there. This was what my neighbors got to see on a daily basis. was that anyway? There's some fun images. If anything else comes up, I'll share. But
Yeah, we really took over, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We usually
Dave, thank
do.
What
you
was
for
all those-
trusting us.
all those stations I had to build. There's
Yeah.
a Brendan station with the piano. Looking he's pondering something there on the piano.
So handsome.
So handsome.
Stoop kid never leaves the stoop.
Stoop kid never leaves the stoop. Thanks for letting us take over your whole life and house every time we come over.
It's fun. It's like an annual or biannual event at this point. Mm-hmm.
Also, we don't totally take over. You take over some of our lives, like when you force us to do takes with chickens on our shoulders or whatever.
Yeah, that's super mean.
Oh, I got those pictures.
I love how happy those chickens make your kids.
Yeah, they
It's
really.
so
But
cute.
having them on my shoulders is a different story. I start to get like irrationally scared.
I'm
like,
worried of poo.
Yeah, it's mostly poop,
Yeah.
but also them.
Wait, hold on. I'm removing.
This is last month. Yeah, here we go. The new record with chickens now.
Which one is that? Is that Shadow?
Yeah,
That
that's
is
Shadow. Right?
Shadow. Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Got a cold beverage in one hand.
Chicken in the other.
Call it Brendan right now, but this is just chickens. chickens, and more chickens.
That chicken looks
Always.
so much like you, Dave.
So we were talking about when we're making a record, and there's like, there's things in the air that kind of make the record cohesive. And the new record, there were chickens.
Chicken shit in the air. Particulate chicken
Just
shit
chickens
matter.
everywhere.
Floating around.
Chicken record, yeah.
We were making Sean play takes, and I think he had one with the chicken on each shoulder. One was pecking at him.
That will really get you to do it in one take.
You're like, get these chickens on.
I have to.
I need to use those against Brendan when he's like on take 30 of the shaker.
Yeah. Don't make me get the
chickens. Starting to get mad.
I'm going to the coop.
Don't make me get those chickens.
It's like the pokey.
It was fine, Brendan.
We're bringing Brendan to the coop.
Well, do you have any thoughts on production or anything you remember about Caroline in particular?
That's not chicken related,
Dave.
Unchicken.
It's the one where you switched the broomsticks for the.
That's the ending. That was
maybe later. Yeah.
No, maybe later was
too.
As Your House. This was tracked. We wanted more juice at the end. And so I had
it mixed. I think it was mixed. And Brendan's like, you know what? I'm going to retract the foundation of the song.
Yeah, at the end. And I switched to sticks. Well, it was Cassie and I wanted more juice.
No, I had nothing to do with that choice.
I thought it was great the way it was.
I had nothing to do with it. It was Brendan. I was honestly, Dave, I was telling Brendan not to. I was like, don't do it. Whatever you do.
You were the one who influenced
whatever
me.
you
That's
do.
Why you're my best friend. That's why you're my best friend.
I know. I'm always here for you, Dave. I would
such
never
BS.
throw you
Brendan's
under the
in
bus.
band. Yeah.
Let everyone know that this is not the truth. But I'm kind of glad we did, because it gives it a little more energy at the end. Don't you think, Dave, or no?
I have a stick you can use on the next drums.
He has the stick. He kept the stick.
Go ahead.
There are things that happen during every Under the Rug session, and one has become that Brendan brings me a new stick. And
we show up
this
at
is one
his
of
house.
The last time the stick was this big. This time I had to go big.
Isn't that from the beach in Marin?
Yeah, we found a stick on the beach, and I carried it for like 3 hours and put it in our car. It was jam packed. It's a good stick.
And then he asked me, "Where's the stick from last session?" And I can't find it, and I feel all bad.
I'm still pissed. I'm still pissed.
But there's this little stick with a little whittled point on it. Where's that? And then I still have a half ripped up dollar bill on top of the tape machine from when we did Homesick.
So mad.
And
that was our
I
only
know Cassie
dollar.
has mixed feelings about cats, but every time Cassie comes in, things get knocked off tables. Whatever's on the table.
Dave, can you give me one, please? Can you give me one?
It's not really right for me to do it. It's more your thing, but
I don't know. I can live vicariously. Don't you leave it there. Don't you leave it there. Don't you leave it there.
Right there on the...
Dave, how could you knock one off? You have to knock one off. Dave, please.
So if anything is sitting on the edge of the console, Cassie just eventually just sneaks a hand over and... This is what making records looks like. Way more than microphones and guitars.
Yeah.
It's Cassie knocking stuff off, Brendan bringing sticks over. We always stick Sean with the kids, and he's always
Sean babysits.
Like he'll come like covered in like weeds and plants and grass or whatever. So because the kids are torturing him, and it kind of just becomes like a family event.
It is.
It's fucked up family.
One big
weird fucked up family.
It's always so fun.
I know.
Yeah.
I wish we could do it forever.
There's like a little market down the street that we always go to and get our lunches, and we end up like creating relationships with the people that work there, kind of. Like...
I brought the girl at the what's the new store that we go to now?
There's a beverage store that has a bunch of like non-alcoholic fancy
Altadena
drinks.
Beverage. Yep,
that's right.
There's a girl there who always wears like stylish hipstery like overalls and beanies and things, and I brought her candy, and then she was like, "That's so sweet," and we all ate candy together in the middle of the store one of the days. Anyways,
I like this.
What do I give?
I think you're
like lizard,
like
lizard
capybara,
yeah,
lizard.
lizard
Capybara,
yeah,
lizard.
yeah.
Okay, you guys, it's been a lovely and fun and lengthy live stream. We're here nearing an hour and a half. We will do some kind of last thoughts and things, but I just want to make one more announcement that tonight is the last night to pre-order ILOTTEBIIHA before the email list and like actual public posts that the album is pre-orderable. Tomorrow morning is when that goes out. So you have tonight to get your pre-orders in before items become more and more limited. So if you haven't pre-ordered, please do. If you're planning on doing so, we're going to put the link in the comments one more time so you can just easily copy and paste it into your browser. Once again, this is the last kind of record that's going to sound like this. And it was a really hard record for me to make. I was really struggling through it, and I think it gives it some kind of magic that none of our other records will necessarily have in that same way again. So if you can, please do support us having made that record at a very precarious and scary time in my life. This didn't allow you to post it. But yeah, can you try that again? Did you just paste it?
Yeah.
Like this?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
It's coming through on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Is Facebook being a pain in the butt? Oh,
hey, it worked. It worked.
Oh,
nope. Gave an error. Well, if you're on Facebook and you want to not type in ILOTTEBIIHA, feel free to go to YouTube really quickly and copy and paste from the YouTube comments, or scroll up in the Facebook comments here. Yeah, I don't know. The new records are new and they're very different. I'm excited for them though. So I don't know. This feels weird because it's kind of a goodbye to letting this record out into the world. It's crazy. So much has happened in the last 2 years. Any last thoughts or things you guys want to say before we say goodbye?
It's a beautiful record.
It's weird to say it from our vantage, but I think there are a lot of really special moments, and I think we put a lot of work and care into this one and spent a lot of time like just kind of just thinking about it and working on it and like grinding on it, so hopefully that comes through in a way that I'm sorry, I just read this.
It's not you were at the beginning, you were talking about that it kind of has a sadness to it or a darkness to it, and it does, but it doesn't, I don't know. I think it's just beautiful. I think it's just a moment in time. It doesn't, yeah.
I think
it's not as hard a listen as maybe it was portrayed. I think it's just quite beautiful. Yeah.
I think it's special to me in a new kind of sentimental way. The way that I have learned from some hard stuff in my life. You look back on hard moments after a while and they become special because they kind of form a part of you, whether or not those times were hard. And I think this record is needed to happen. And I'm super proud that we pulled it off, because it was a really hard time for you, and it was not the most joyous record to make, but it needed to happen, and it did, and I'm really proud of it. And I think it's becoming more and more special to me as time goes on.
Yeah, it's interesting to go back and listen after all this time and be like, oh, that's where we were at, and that's what it felt like, and you can kind of feel that in the music. You're like, oh, that's where this band was at. And so it's kind of just like a glimpse into like who we are or who we were,
Get ready for like, we were right. Happiness was actually easy, and that's totally not sarcastic, the album.
I do think it's cool though. I feel like we did something really hard. Like we toured like a ton of dates that year and we made 2 records and I did a whole gender transition thing. Fuck. You do anything, you know?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It was really hard, but I believe in us. You know, that we can kind of pull a lot off. And especially as time goes on with Dave, we're kind of dialing the process. We're trying new things. The new tape record is like a whole different thing. It's a lot more like the live videos in a way. And the Rudoso record is coming along and is wild. So
yeah, it's
Every
exciting.
record is its own world, its own moment in time, and they all have their place. You know, it's nice. It's like a photo album.
Yeah.
Like this.
Well, sorry, I just want to mention. That's so funny.
Where is that?
Where is that?
Oh, I brought a blanket in.
I hadn't shown any Sean, so I just wanted to show.
Dude, there's
Sean gets all cuddly in the studio.
There's some long days in the studio.
Yeah, you just need a blanket.
Oh, y'all are so sweet.
Bianca, you keep commenting and I haven't said anything, and I just want to say I love you and I miss you and I can't wait until we play in Texas again, so we can see you again. And also, Billy, you can't say shit like this if you're never going to visit us. So, you know, answer Sean's calls from time to time. Like, what the fuck, dude? And then, everyone else who's watching tonight, thank you very much for supporting Under the Rug through all of our crazy phases. Many, many more albums to come. This one is finally going to be in your hands probably in the next, I think we'll probably release it in the next month. Is that true? Yeah, next month. It'll be coming out, and then we will be getting ready to, I think, probably release first a physical merch only record with the tape machine. Dave's eyes are gonna. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say he's gonna tell me.
Dave's gonna get it done tonight.
Dave, get working on it.
The whole record.
We had all of this to work with. This was the studio, and what we used
was just that.
And it was fun. It was the opposite of this record. So yeah.
I think that's coming next, and I think we're gonna do a physical only release, and I think it's gonna be limited copies. So if you guys are down for that one, it's gonna be like get it or don't at first. And yeah. Okay. Anyways, I'm looking out through these eyes, but I'm in here alone. Coming out next month. Pre-orders open to the public tomorrow. Do your last pre-orders now, or by the end of the night before we release that to the rabble. Dave Peters, thank you so much for being part of our weird 4-headed dog of a band that keeps barreling forward through life. I'm still thinking about how you called me old, but that's fine.
Yeah, that was mean.
That was rude.
And
that was really mean.
To the rest of you, we love you so much. Thank you for supporting us, and we will see you next time. Okay, TWD, we love you. And
love you so much, Dave.
See you, Dave.
Love you, Dave.
We love you, Dave.
Love you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, we love you so much, Dave. All right, we love you, Dave.
Love you, Dave.
Dave.
Bye.
Dave.
Dave, love
Thanks.
you.
Dave.
He never says I love you.
He never
back.
says he
never
loves us
says it
back. Dave.
One of these
We
days
love
he'll
you.
say it.